Hello and welcome to this video. Here is a picture of Makomo, I think her name is, and her mask. And here are some drawings I made trying to study the shape of that mask because I want to make little earrings of that mask. And here is a commercially available version, and so you can kind of see there was a little bit of it's not quite what the anime looks like, in my opinion. So I tried more for the anime style than the commercial version. And at first I tried making it out of this Sculpey that I had. It didn't work. That's the bottom line. So I thought I would try to make it out of wood. And this sapling had grown up in an area where I didn't want it, and I wanted to carve some green wood so that it'd be easier. This is the piece I was able to get. I don't know what wood this is, unfortunately, but it ended up being pretty good. I'm going to make two, and I was going to use the curve of the wood to kind of make the curve of the mask. So I decided to split it, and then I would have two roughly similar portions. So first I just remove the bark and kind of make a place to carve. I wanted to keep the rest of this wood attached as sort of like a handle. And then I'm also trying to get that the like pith part, the middle of the tree out. And then I also tried to flatten the back fairly well so that I could have a sort of reference surface. And I'm just using this like a Sumi paint pen to kind of roughly draw the shape that I decided on. The shape, these masks are really cool and stuff. I've never seen one in person, and I think they're based off of maybe N-O-H, like the Japanese theater kind of thing. Anyway, I wasn't sure exactly what shape to go for, but I did my best trying a shape that I liked and thought would work. Anyway, right now I'm just roughing out the surface, basically just getting rid of wood that I know I don't need. By the way, the knife I'm using is a knife I really like. They're typically called a Sloyd knife, based on a guy who wrote a textbook, I think it was, for teaching kids how to use a knife, and he recommended a knife that had this kind of shape, and his name was Sloyd. I think he was a European guy. Anyway, I learned about that from Roy Underhill's The Woodwright Shop. But the knife is a good knife for general purpose wood cutting. It has like a hard steel core and two softer steel sides that are sandwiched around it. Anyway, I'm continuing on just the roughing out, and I repeatedly carve back the shoulder of the part that I'm going to end up cutting away. That's like the handle. This is another knife that I got way back in high school, and it's designed for chip carving, but I just love it. It's been basically my favorite carving / whittling knife since I got it. It's got a thin blade, and it's always stayed real sharp. You can take real nice cuts with it. I'm bringing the shape of the mask closer and closer to what I think is good. Oh, and I'm also using this small gouge to hollow out the back. I considered leaving it solid, but I thought it'd be way cooler to have it be hollow. I also kind of wished I could have gotten it like to be very thin, but I was concerned that the wood would probably break at that thinness, I guess. But thankfully I can't find all my tools because we moved and stuff's packed away, but thankfully I easily found that small gouge. So you can see here the general rough shape. I end up refining it a little better. The interesting thing is it's hard to make two the same. I was gonna make two of the Makomo, I think her name is, masks, but in the end I end up making one of them the mask that Tanjiro wore, because I just thought it would be cool to have them be different. And then so at this point I'm removing the mask from the part that I was using as a handle, and just sort of hacking away at it until it comes off. Since most of the carving is done, it's not as big of a deal just to hold on to this tiny little piece, but it would have been not nearly impossible, but very difficult to carve the whole thing just trying to hold on to that little piece. So that's the profile, the front. I still need to do the ears, but they turned out pretty well, I think, in terms of matching. That's how they would have come out of the mini tree, the sapling. So yeah, next I did a fair amount of sanding to refine the shape and also remove the knife marks. Here I'm refining the shape of the ears. The shape as a whole isn't necessarily, I don't know, it's hard to decide on exactly the right shape like I was saying, but I'm pretty happy with it. Oh, so here I'm using an X-Acto knife to start a hole for this tiny little drill bit for the wire that will connect to the earring. Without that, I was drilling on a curved surface, and it was almost impossible. So here's the wire that I'm wrapping around this little thing to make a loop with just like this part that sticks down. Here it is. So the part that sticks down will be epoxied in. This is the epoxy I used. So there it is. I really liked the color of the wood and the look of the wood, so I kind of debated if I was going to paint it white, because they're obviously white in the anime, but I decided to paint it white, and I thought that was a good idea. So I penciled in the rough lines of the final mask, and then just used this fine brush to try to match it as close to the real thing, or the anime as possible. It is challenging because when the underlying shape isn't just right, it makes the painting not be able to be just right, and it's close, I think, and I think it looks good, but I worked as hard as I could to try to make it as like sort of screen accurate as possible, but without like a physical thing to work from, it's very difficult. And I couldn't easily find many references. Anytime you're like sculpting from pictures, it's more difficult than sculpting from a real object. So, and then if you don't have very many references, you really have to just guess, basically. Here's Tanjiro's mask. I actually kind of like it, and I like it kind of in contrast to Makomo. I think that's what her name is. Yeah, Makomo. I like it in contrast to her mask because the eyes are like way more intense, and I just think it contrasts well. Like hers has more of a mellow look to it because the eyes are just slits, and then it has the flowers on the side, and his is more intense because the eyes are kind of like they looked shocked, I guess. But when I was painting it, I had to go back and forth with the white to kind of cover up and fix mistakes. And so like it's hard to paint a really thin, even black line, but if you go back with white, you can more easily kind of refine it into a very thin, much more even line. And that's what I ended up doing. It was actually kind of fun, this part. It feels like, I don't know, maybe like the icing on the cake, I guess. Like so much work went into the studying of the shape, the drawing of the initial masks to practice what it looked like in my mind, the cutting of the wood, the carving of it. And then this, like, I don't know, if it's such an integral part, but it's such a small piece of the final process. Oh, so there you could see me going in or painting with the white to kind of refine the line. So all I could find easily to kind of protect it was that Tamara varnish, which is used for oil painting. But anyway, here they are. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Yeah, thanks for watching. Bye.